Insider was interested in doing a feature on me around how I don't really do any of that. And yet I still have been able to create massive success with 80 consecutive, 5 and even 6-figure months since 2014 at this point. So I'm really excited to share that with you all. And one of the things that I just want to start with today, and it's why I named the call today in terms of consistency over the big, bold actions, is because the thing that I tend to see is one of the biggest misconceptions about success is that it takes a lot of time, that there's like these big things you need to do to make the stuff happen. And, you're probably going to have to sacrifice a lot of the other things that are important to you in your life in order to have the success that you want. And one of the key things that I was just talking about with them is that what I know makes the biggest difference is just putting a little bit of energy into the areas that are most important to you every single day. So the areas, one, it's important to know what those areas are for you and what feels most important for your life. For me, it tends to be body, relationship with myself, and relationship, more so what I focus on is a relationship with Luke. Relationship with myself feels pretty good. And then soul work and money. Those are the core areas that I'm most focused on. Body, relationship, soul work, and money. And those are the 4 core areas that I end up teaching on in like the second half of my book. And you may have other areas that are specifically important to you. Maybe you have relationship and you also have family because maybe you have children, or maybe there's something else that is really interesting to you. And so being clear on what the core areas are that are most important to you in your life. And then here's the thing. The people who create the most success in any of these areas aren't the ones who are like kicking their ass and doing insane actions every single day. There might be some of that at times. Like there's times when you're birthing something new that it does take a little additional action. But overall, the thing that will hands down work every single time is the consistent daily putting a little bit of energy in. If you're focused on having your dream body, it's not that you have to now do 2-a-day workouts every single day and, they need to be 2 hours each. It might just be getting into the routine and the consistency that you do 15 minutes each day of moving your body. And you start to practice becoming the version of you who has the fit body. Because the way that I see success in any area is, one, getting clear on what's actually important to you and what you actually desire. From this space, Luke and I were doing this kind of Q&A with each other this morning where we'd go back and forth asking each other. I would say, Luke, what do you want with your body? And he would share. It's not a conversation. He just gets to share. And then he would ask me. And then I would say, okay, Luke, what do you need to do today? What can you do today in order to feel that way with your body now? So we're using practices like this to get clear on what we actually desire, and then start to embody, practice, be the version of you who feels it now. Because the way you manifest isn't by continuing to feel how you've been feeling. If that worked, you would already have the thing you want. The way you manifest something is by feeling it fully is done. So the things that work time and time again, and we use it on these 4 core areas, is like he'll ask me, okay, Jess, what do you want around money? What's your intentions, desires around money right now? How do you want to feel around money? What do you need to do today to feel that way? And I find that a lot of times people resist this because they think, oh, I need to go on the fad diet. They think they have to go on the juice cleanse. They think they have to kick their ass and rah, rah, rah. And sometimes there is a shift in old bad habits. But the best way to shift an old bad habit is to replace it with something new that you do consistently, right? So what it comes down to is, what do you actually desire? What are these areas that are most important to you? What can you do today to feel the way that you want to feel in each of these areas? What can you do today to more fully embody the successful version of you in that area? And then you practice it until it becomes a habit. And then the habit becomes part of your identity. Do you see how this works? You get clear on the desire in the area that you want to be shifting. You get clear on, what do you need to be feeling? What would you be feeling if this were already done? Who do you now get to be in order to create this? Who do you now get to be in order to bring this into your life? And then you start being that version of you. And sometimes at first it feels uncomfortable because you haven't been being that version of you, right? But you keep doing it consistently, daily, in at least some small way until it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it becomes part of your identity. And this is why I feel so much ease in my life, is the things like around doing my soul work are so habitual for me now. It is a habit and part of my identity to get up each day, to tune in for myself, to do these questions that I'm taking you through right now so that I'm in alignment for me and know what I desire. And then it's a habit to take what I notice from that, turn it into content, into a blog or into an email, and put it out to the world to sell and to have my team share that in a lot of ways. So every single day, without me really thinking about it, I create new content, I share content, I connect with my audience, my community, and my clients, and I sell every single day without question. And it feels insanely easy because it's part of who I am at this point, and it's just a habit. Same is true with my body. I get up in the morning, I'm connected to my body. I tend to not eat a lot in the morning or really even that much during the day. I like to feel really light and energized. I'm a naturally fit person at this point. I've practiced it enough that I just am. We do the same thing with our relationship, and we do the same thing with our money. So what I'd like for you to consider is, where have you been putting pressure on yourself to take massive action? I think it's a really important question because we put so much pressure on, all right, I'm going to start this new habit. I'm going to do daily Facebook Lives forevermore. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if that feels aligned, rock on. But I know that if I decided for myself that I need to start doing daily Facebook Lives, I might get myself amped up for it for a couple of days, and then I'd be pissed off. I wouldn't want to do it. I would have massive resistance to it. So where can you take daily, consistent, maybe even small actions? Where can you put energy into something every single day? Because a lot of times what those giant actions are saying is that, like, deep down, you don't really believe. I'm not saying you can't take some big actions, do it. But deep down, if we don't really believe the thing's going to work out for us, then it's like we need it to happen now in order to believe it. What I'm asking you to do is to suspend your disbelief. What I'm asking you to do is get clear on what you actually desire and practice it into habit so that the habit can become your identity. If you know you're going to have a successful business, if you know you're going to make 6 figures, multi-6 figures, 7 figures and beyond in this business at some point, you know your success is imminent. You don't need to make the thing happen now in order to believe it. You don't need to make the thing happen now in order to prove it. That doesn't mean that massive results can't come in quickly, by all means. And there are times you will be inspired to take massive action as well. But if you tend to find yourself swinging between like going all in and taking action and then not showing up for something for a while, I would rather you just get consistent with small action first. And that's why I even ask you to start emailing 3 times a week as you're growing your email list. 3 times a week. Doesn't need to be daily. 3 times a week. Some sort of content, some sort of invitation to work with you, some sort of connection. Build a relationship. For me, I email almost daily, but if I came in and told you to do that from the beginning, you would probably resist it. Also, it's not aligned for every single one of you to email that often. It is for me at this point. So I want you to start looking at what are the small things that you could get consistent with that could create massive impact. Showing up daily in some way, writing an email consistently that you could then turn into posts throughout the week, helping people, focusing on growing your impact, focusing on growing your reach. It's why I would rather you focus on growing your email list by 1 person a day than trying to get 1,000 people this month. Like, just get consistent with it. If you focus on growing your email list, focus on growing your audience, focus on helping 1 person every single day, bit by bit, it will grow. And at some point it will hit a tipping point and it will be exponential, and you'll have this moment of like, where did all these people come from? But you built up the habit and you made it part of your identity. Does this make sense? Because there's things that are happening to me and starting to happen consistently this year that feel a little bit like magic. And I can feel myself actually that I'm almost a little bit nervous about some of them. I was nervous about the book. I was nervous about this Business Insider interview. I was nervous about, I don't know if you guys saw this. I have a diamond necklace that was gifted to me from Miss Diamond Ring, which is, she's like a boutique diamond concierge business out of like LA, Beverly Hills area. And earlier this year, she gifted me a diamond necklace as like an influencer partnership to share with my audience. And then just recently, the new bachelorette, Claire Crowley, who I don't know any of this stuff, let's be clear. I live in like a box and I have no idea who the bachelor or bachelorette or any of these people are until like my PR team or someone tells me things. I'm just like over here. I'm over here like a cat playing with a ball of yarn. Shut up, Luke. And then my team is like, Business Insider wants to talk to you. And I'm like, why? I'm just playing with my yarn. So this is a perfect example of if you just show up consistently, people start to realize that you're awesome and then invite you into things at some point. But what ended up happening is the bachelorette bought this diamond ring for herself as a self-love piece. And I'm sure she was doing somewhat for PR as well because she was wearing it on a ring finger and all these things. But so they did this little like shout out for her to like show that you supported her on the self-love thing. Well, I missed it because they messaged me at like 6 o'clock at night. I'm not online at that point. And so I saw it the next day and I was like, I can do something now. And they were like, well, technically it was last night. I was like, I'll do it anyway. So I did a little like 2 video clip on Insta stories. And then Claire Crowley reshared mine. I don't think she reshared anyone else's stories for it. I have no idea why she picked mine, but because my energy is fucking on point probably. And because everything is always working out for me. And because I did it later and I took the aligned action instead of putting pressure on myself to do the thing when everyone else was doing it, because I didn't want to do it right then. I don't feel pressure to have to like make other people happy on their timelines. I get to live my life completely on my timeline. And so I put the thing out and last night at dinner, I was like, holy shit, Claire Crowley just like reshared my story. I'm so excited. So random stuff like that just keeps happening, just keeps building. I just saw my team submitted there was an article that was supposed to post earlier this year. I don't even remember where. It was just some kind of like small media thing about credit cards and how I approach debt and all this sort of thing. And it never went through. Well, I believe that everything is always working out for me. So they now pulled it from the other company or other place and they're submitting it to Cosmopolitan instead. There's all this really cool stuff that's bubbling up that couldn't have happened if I was in the energy of frenzy and freak out and I need to happen now so that I feel successful. Like I'm one of those like overnight success stories that's a decade in the making. I just keep showing up. I just keep choosing how life gets to be for me. I just keep showing up for it, okay? So I want you to know that you getting clear on what you desire, deciding that you get to have it, practicing being the version of you who already has it. It's okay to just practice it. You don't have to be good at it right now. Just start practicing it and get better at it every single day. Allow the habit to build. You're learning to be a successful entrepreneur. You're learning to be a soul-led CEO. You're learning to be a millionaire. You may not be in the space right now that if that fell into your lap, you'd be ready or know how to navigate it with grace. You are being educated and trained into the version of you that you truly want to be, just like I am. I really, really, really want my business to be a consistent 7-figure and multi-7-figure business, but it's not yet, and that's okay. I have more than enough money for all of my desires. Money is consistent and so consistent for me with the 80 consecutive 5- and 6-figure months at this point. So I'm just going to keep practicing, embodying the next level version of me. And what I know to be true is that when it comes to being this next level version of you, there's a softness to it. There's not a grasping energy. There's not a like, I got to make the 6 figures happen. There's, of course, I make 6 figures I almost said every month, but yes, every year or every month, whatever your goals or intentions are. And you just keep showing up as that version of you.